How's it going? My name is William, and this is my so-called life.
Get the most fun out of life, out of being a mother and wife, with new fashion excitement that's all created by you. On your new Touch and Sew
Sewing machine by Singer.
Touch and Sew.
Another first from Singer.
Be the girl with the golden touch on your new Singer Golden Touch and Sew machine. Dozens of exclusive features, like this new built-in needle threader for the golden slant needle and the push-button bobbin that winds right in the machine. What a wonderful new feeling. You can do all three kinds of sewing: straight, zigzag, and chain stitch.
Touch and Sew, the push-button bobbin way.
Come sew on one at your Singer Center. Choose from 5 Touch and Sew models from $149.95.
What's new for tomorrow
Is at Singer today.
They're just touching Touchtronic memory machines.
Incredible.
I'm Polly Bergen. Only Singer makes machines this easy to use. Touch. The memory remembers your stitch pattern instantly. Touchtronic speed control remembers to adjust your fabric thickness.
What about basting?
Touch. Great. You can forget about your sewing machine and concentrate on sewing. The Touchtronic memory machine family. Come take a test, Touch.
Yay! Hello! I hope everyone's doing well. Oh man, let me knock myself down a little bit. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to my so-called life. My name is William, and it is Monday night. Well, I hope it is. But before we get started, before we go any further, this program is for entertainment purposes only, and its content is not intended to malign any religion, lack thereof, race, company, individual, or wigs. All opinions expressed by my so-called life and program participants are solely their personal view and do not reflect the views of every single human being on planet Earth. I hope everybody has a great evening flying my so-called life airlines. And if you're having a bad day, if you need an Activia, we have exits on both sides. That's I'm a scared of and it at ya. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm not. There's gonna be no secrets tonight. I'm gonna be making a tweed coat. I haven't decided how 1970s I want the collar yet, but before we get there, how's it going, Alibaba? Great to see you as always. As always, anybody who watches this in the future, I see you and you are appreciated. And to anyone watching this right now, welcome to the House of Sewing. The serger was definitely demoted. If you can see my serger, it serger station has been completely dismantled and abandoned. I brought my keyboard back because about every 6 or 7 months, I pull out my keyboard trying to revive my synth pop career, but it doesn't happen. So my keyboard's back. The serger is just going to float around this room. It's not necessarily a reliable piece of equipment anymore, but it's still something that I'm going to, I'm not going to let it go by the wayside. I'm still going to use it. And I was synth pop career. It's a joke from the Big Lebowski. It's literally a joke from the Big Lebowski, but it's true. Every 6 months, I pull that thing out. Oh, excuse me. You have the outfit. I do have the outfits to and I have all the instruments too to be in a synth pop band. Oh man. So tragedy has struck the House of Sewing. I don't even know where to begin to talk about this subject. I've waited a while because I keep on trying to mend this relationship, but it's gone and there's nothing I can do about it. I am locked out of the sewing and ranting with with Godless Sewing channel. So because I made a blooper video, I have a blooper channel for anyone who doesn't know. I also have a Penelope Keith Love channel that also has a few videos on there. So I go on there periodically, and if you've commented on there and I haven't said anything, I apologize. I do not go on there that often. I was completely locked out of my channel. Some of the old synth decks are coming back. Kids like this sounds. You know what's really sad? I was sitting here remembering of all the keyboards I had as a kid because I had all the hand-me-downs. That's what got me interested in keyboards in general because I had every kind of weird wannabe keytar, synth, synth deck, anything you could think of. But I am completely locked out of that channel. How could you get locked out of your own channel? So I'm always on my so-called life channel. I'm always on there. I'm always, watching videos. That's my main channel. If you don't visit something, I created a channel and just kind of let it live. I let it breathe a little bit. But if you do not visit it, what is it? It's either AOL or not. I'm from the past. I constantly claim I'm from the future, but I'm from the past. Google locks you out. So if you don't visit in a certain time, Google completely and utterly locks you out. And it's been a while, I haven't made a blooper in a while. The holidays are always harsh. And then it takes me a few months to recover. So needless to say, I was locked out of my blooper channel. So I created another one. Whoops. Let me see. I think it's let's see. So hold on, let me check and see who this is. So this channel is where my bloopers are now. And I have to warn you, I curse like a sailor when I make a mistake. I know I come out here really Ned Flanders, Mr. Rogers with my diddly, but like I you know, when I make constant mistakes, I'm like, ah, I get tired of my own speech impediment. But I had to revise the blooper channel, and I also use that channel to bounce things off of YouTube to see if I'm going to get a copyright violation or not, because it's hard to tell at this point. So I'm bringing my buffer channel back. And the channel, what is it? Sewing and Ranting with Godless Sewing is still up. It's just I can't access it. And I tried to access it through YouTube Studio and it would not let me access it. So that's letting me know they've cut me out. And that's okay. Channels come and go. And that's okay. Especially a channel that I really haven't been paying attention to. I kind of made that channel as a side project because no one loves editing, but I like making blooper videos. And it's good to see my progression over time. And how much I waffle when I do not have any idea of what I'm talking about, but I'm presenting it anyways. So I'm going to take the pens out of this because I've decided to use my Mimiji R11407 pattern because I love the giant base that it gives me. Most patterns nowadays, especially for men, they come in really slim. I love the trench coat look. Even with the overall pattern I have, the pants are really, really tight on. And that's not necessarily my style. And I don't judge anybody who wears any style. Like I go all over the place as far as how I dress. So no judgment here. I just can't hang with extremely tight pants. And instead of my usual rant, I'm kind of at peace with it. But I'm going to use this pattern. This is tweed. It looks like everybody's grandma's couch from the 1970s. But because for some reason, the San Fernando Valley is the land of tweed. And so I've discovered a honey hole and I'm going to, what's really funny? I'm probably going to purchase that entire roll because at $2 a yard, I'm probably going to end up buying that entire roll. And what's funny? When the guy first saw me, like the first time I walked up, he was kind of like, who is this guy? Whatever. The second time, he was kind of pleased that I was there. When I walked up last week, he was like, hello, sir. How are you? He was all smiled. And to anyone's credit, I do not expect you to be chipper at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm chipper because I get up early and I pregame. I drink a bunch of coffee. I go and get a McMuffin. I have a whole routine. But it's funny. It's funny. The price break he gives me too. So I'm excited about that. And it's been a while since I've had a nice dramatic overcoat. I haven't decided if I'm going to go full overcoat on this one, but I go back and forth with pockets or no pockets. If I do not put pockets on, it's because I love the design. And that's basically what happens every single time. I look back at a lot of my old coats. I went through this weird phase where I would put 4 pockets on. Then it kind of faded away to 2, and then it disintegrated to 0. But I have a very specific style when it comes to this particular coat. And I don't know if 1970 style is coming back. I'm bringing it back. I love the giant collar. I love the dramatic plaid. I love all of the colors. I just need to go somewhere where it's cold so I can wear all this tweed. I haven't decided if I'm going to line this or not. I really like, excuse me. I really like the material. And it's if someone's looking inside your coat, I don't know. I have a ton of oopsies though, so I should line. One of the reasons that I'm waffling back and forth to line or not to line is because my serger is completely trashed. But we're gonna put it to the test tonight. I'm gonna line everything. I've been using my Singer heavy duty lately, and it has its detractors, but it works. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Oh, so for anyone tuning in, so far I've just been ranting about how I got kicked out of my blooper channel. And it told me too, we think this is a we think this was a bot created channel. I'm like, I'm right here. I am right here. I really don't know if I want to line this or not. I probably will though. I'm gonna go a bit old school and line this completely. And I just ripped the pattern. It's not like it's not like I haven't used this thing. I'm gonna count, and I'm gonna tell the truth on YouTube. I am going to count and see how many coats I've made. I could go in my closet right now and start counting, but I don't want to embarrass myself. But I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna figure out. So if this is ripped, I have Scotch tape, but that's hilarious. For as many coats as I've made, I've got more than my money's worth out of this pattern. Mimi G should have a statue of me with holding R11407 for as many coats as I've made using this pattern. All right. You know what? I'm going to stop procrastinating and I'm going to start lining. That's the funny thing about sewing. It's not it's mainly prep work. I constantly say that it's like painting, but in a lot of ways it really is, because when you paint, you spend more time prepping than actually painting. All right, so if we're gonna keep the color scheme going, I think that'll be perfect for the back. You know, a lot of this is contingent off if my serger works or not. But I've been on this weird kick of what did I do before my serger decided to name itself Fritz and stop working. Oh, man. Oh, do I want to use? Yeah, that's actually not. I think actually that'll look really nice with that. I might put this in the, actually, no, this is going to be in the front because there's more than enough fabric here. And then I'm going to use this for the back. And for the record, I am finally using my oopsies. I have a mountain of fabric over here. It is slowly climbing up towards my blind stitcher. And I would show you, but it's kind of embarrassing. It's no secret that I've accumulated quite a, oh, wow. I have a lot of fabric. Oh, wow. You know what's really funny? This is not what I expected it to be, but I'm still going to use it. This is not at all what I thought it was. That maroon looks good with the main fabric. It's see-through-ish. Maybe it's because I'm kind of like because I'm over enthusiastic. I was hoping it was something else. But it's going to look great because this is going to be the back of the coat. That's way thin. That's why I laugh. But that's the funny thing about oopsies in general is that you really never know what they are until you open them. How's it going? What's up, Rashawn? What's up? I was listening to your stream, but I passed out. The heat and I are not good friends. I keep on saying, "Oh, I'm not ready for summer. I'm not ready for summer." I came back after picking up my son. I sat down and I passed out. Oh, perfect. Perfect. I hope everything is going well. Good to see you. Good to see you. That is see-through. But I'm not going to make anything crazy with it. I'm not here to impress anybody, so I'm going to use it as the back. Hey, trees, how's it going? How's it going? Great to see you. Great to see you, trees. Awesome. Awesome. Today's been crazy. Where are my notes? Where is my compass? I'm still working with Tweed because I can't let it go. I got locked out of my blooper channel, so I started another one because I'm stubborn. I wrote that with my right hand, so I can't read it now. I have a question. I have a crazy. Awesome, awesome. Good to see everybody. You know what it is I pride myself on being from the desert. I'm a lizard. When it starts getting hot, I pass out. I literally pass out, and I'm from here. And the older I get, I can't hang, and I'm man enough to admit it. It should have a max temp of 78. That's some Star Trek stuff, man. That's Risa. The planet Risa was like that. I totally believe in that. I can't remember what I was gonna say now. I listen to a bunch of really cheesy metal songs and 90s songs before I start my stream. So I always jump on here with enthusiasm. But I always end up having some crazy song stuck in my head. Oh, this is what I was gonna ask. Okay. So I grew up a bit old school, and I know it's shocking to people when I say, "Oh, I'm from California." But I grew up I grew up in a house. We had 2 dogs, and they both Max lived to be 20 years old, and Cleophas lived to be 19 or 20. I have a question. Where is the line of taking care of a dog and treating a dog like a human? Am I from the Was I teleported here? Am I just being cruel? It's weird to me. Next to the massage parlor that's next to my son's MMA class is a dog groomer. And people are like crying when they pick up their dog. Your dog got today. Someone was crying. And I'm sitting in my car. I'm not kidding you. I'm eating Jack in the Box, sitting in front of the MMA place, listening to hockey. And this guy's crying about his dog. And I sat there and I was telling myself, like, William, don't judge, like to those people, they love their animal. I grew up with guard dogs, with big, giant guard dogs, and they lived outside. When you spend hundreds of dollars per visit for anything dog related, you have crossed over. Thank you. But again, I have this constant internal struggle of, is it me and my old school like archaic values? Because I'm literally just sitting there sewing, minding my own business, and people think I'm joking when I say that. I bring hand sewing projects with me so I can sit there and mind my own business. My friend has spent thousands on a rescue cat, and I just can't. Okay, I get strays in my backyard. I went to the store. I bought one of those giant bags of cat food, but cat food's affordable. And I bought a bunch of cans and I feed strays in my neighborhood, So I'm not saying that I'm not anti-animal in any way, shape, or form. But where is that line? It's just crazy to me the lengths that people go to. Would you cry at the sight of a dog? Maybe if I was like lost in the Sahara walking through it barefoot and I hadn't seen my dog in 6 months, it was just weird to me. And again, I'm an animal lover, but like, you know, where I'm from, dogs have jobs. I don't, it's just weird to me. And again, this is just me observing. I'm not judging. I'm not my ex-wife had a dog named Lulu. And Lulu was a little min pin, literal ankle biter. You know, when Lulu died, I big cried. I was like huffy, full on crying, you know? It's just weird to me. Sometimes I feel like like I was in a dimension for 10 years and transported somewhere, and I missed out on all these things we're supposed to care about now. The cat won't even play with her, so she has a high debt cuddle ratio. That's horrible. I don't believe in that. I'm judging. Well, I like we all I'm one of those people who I remind myself of Kim Wayans from In Living Color. There was a skit where she would always talk about people, and then in the end she would be like, but you didn't hear that from me. I'm sitting there with my book like, okay, you're talking so loud, I have to listen to you, you know. So it's not that I'm nosy, it's just that I'm paying attention because you're louder than my book. I have a friend in her family that has spent thousands on her dog, and it's like 20 now. Wow. Yeah, like I said, Max lived to be 20, and Cleophas lived to be he had to have been 20 because we got him when I was a freshman. Yeah, that dog lived forever. Got it when I was a freshman in high school, and he passed away a year before my son was born. That dog lived forever. Yeah. Oh man, we need you in LA. There are literal gangs of chihuahuas running the street. Like, it's crazy. I saw the literal dog catcher yesterday, and I told my son when I was driving him to school, I was like, I have not seen the actual dog catcher in years and years. Yeah, there's a point where they suffer with age, and that's the problem. Illness as well. And it was sad. Cleophas got so old, he had gray hair. And he was half Rottweiler, half Doberman Pinscher, and he had the coloring, but he started going gray. And Max was so humongous, he had hip dysplasia. Okay, I hope I pinned this enough to cut it. This is extremely thin material that I'm working with. So I'm going to add an extra pin just to make sure. Oh, perfect. My friend with a cat paid for reconstructive jaw surgery. What? As there's something crawling on my roof, I still think those are raccoons. I still think those are raccoons on my roof. Okay, that goes back to where's the line? I know where Rashawn stands. Again, I grew up in a setting with like guard dogs, ranch dogs. You know, these animals have jobs. Like every time I see a border collie, I'm like, you should be out just nipping at sheep's heels, just nipping at them, running in circles in a field somewhere. Especially around here because there's a lot of houses. True, there's land here, but it's not like acreage where you could or like where I live. I think it's crazy when people own huskies. On average, it gets to be 105 where I live. as he's looking for the rotary tool that's right in front of his face. I think it's animal cruelty. I watched a video of there was a dog, I think it was like in Arizona. This guy found his dog in his ice machine because the dog's literally meant to be somewhere where it's cold. Okay, perfect. If your dog hits car notes expensive, you have a fur baby. Oh, again, I'm trying not to judge. I'm not judging. I have a 14-year-old teenager. And sometimes you know what's funny? You judge your parents and then you experience teenage life through somebody else's eyes and you're like, "Oh, well, my parents were still crazy, but some of that stuff they said was right." So I want to prep it. But it was just weird to me. The guy started crying because he picked up his dog. Did you return from, I don't know this guy's story either. Oh, the house of sewing and not judging. I reason 849. I don't like dogs. What's up, Yella? How's it going? How's it going? People, and again, I constantly preface with I'm from the old world. Like, I'm from the old world. We like Cleophas, my dog, looked like Snoop Dogg. He was half Doberman Pinscher, half Rottweiler. He was a beast. But like when he came back from PetSmart, I didn't cry. I didn't cry. If the dog lasted me and saved me from drowning, crying, and spending a car note per month is acceptable. I'm extremely observant of human beings, and it's weird. And you know what? I see people of all walks of life pick their. That's why you should never judge somebody. Never judge somebody. You see the most some real scary people, and they're picking up their poodle. That's getting the full poodle cut. I think that's what it is. I could never have a high maintenance dog. If my dog requires, what do you call it? Is it a mani pedi? Is it a paw pedi? What would you? Oh, I gotta breathe. What would you call that? Yeah. Hello. It's just weird to me when I don't know. Again. And you know what? I live in Los Angeles. It's no secret. This is the land of some of the most pretentious dogs on earth. Dogs. There are dogs that live better than I do. There are dogs that get inheritance where I live. I'm not judging. It was so strange to me today when this man picked up his dog and he started crying. And I'm sitting there eating my Jack in the Box tacos, listening to hockey in the car. I used to make old school patches by hand. I think I need to start doing that again. I think I need to bring back my old school patches by hand. Oh, there it is. I was waiting for my phone. I saw a meme about a haircut from PetSmart and everyone was angry about the trim. I didn't understand the anger. The fur will grow back. I've always wondered about that. I'm like, it's a dog. Oh, bougie ass California dog. They are bougie and they walk past looking you up and down. California dogs literally get their own coffee. I'm like, it's a dog and fur. Why are we angry? Well, it's There's varying degrees to that. So if you tell someone, I specifically want my dog to have the Mr. T mohawk. I want my dog to have the complete frohawk. And then you walk up and your dog doesn't look like that. I would be mad. But if you're just like, give my dog a trim, again, though, again, I would never be in a situation where I would be describing the kind of cut that I would want my obviously I have feelings about this. When I saw that guy reacting like that, I was like, am I weird? Like, I guess I care about different things. You know what? When the Dodgers won the World Series, everybody in the room got really emotional. And like, I didn't cry. I was like, wow, this is an amazing moment. I will remember this for the rest of my life. But like, everybody in the room was crying. And I'm like, I was looking around. I was like, did I miss something? And I love the Dodgers. That's my team. I judge people for wanting the Mr. D cut. Oh, people rock the frohawk around here. You know what? If I wasn't so bald, I would probably. But I am bald. Mine wouldn't even be funny. Mine wouldn't even be funny. Would you have hairstyle preferences for a dog that has dingleberries? It's true. It is licking its hole. That's what I'm saying. And you know what's so funny? I'm sitting there and I didn't say a word. And this guy's crying. I'm just looking at him. And I had my notes. I grabbed my notes and I wrote down, where is the line of dog grooming? And I'm not kidding. What do you call it when a dog gets their paws done? Was that like a doggy petty? All right. So let's see how this looks. That's gonna look really good. This is extremely sheer, but the tweed is covering up, so that's gonna look really good. All right. I'll do the side panels. And you know what? I care about a lot of things. I'm actually an extremely passionate person, but I called it nail clipping podicure. Exactly. I was like, what do you call it? It's not a mani pedi. I called it nail clipping. I'm passionate about a lot of things. I'm trying not to judge, but I'm trying to think. Has there been anything that's made you cry? No, that's a bad question though. That's a bad question. But because Picard made me feel like crying. And my rule is if you're still talking about it, you're not over it. And I'm no one to judge, but it was just I cry often. See, there you go. There you go. Do you cry at movies? I find it weird that a movie will invoke more emotion out of me than certain situations. There was a car accident right in front of me and my son, and it was so funny because my son was like, what is going on? And I was literally like, oh, that's crazy, as I hit my brakes and pull over to make sure the debris isn't hitting my car. But we were in the same situation and we had two completely different reactions. His initial reaction was to literally just say the first thing that came to his mind. My reaction was, oh man, I'm glad I left the house 5 minutes late. All right. So I'm going to line this using more of my oopsies because I am not kidding you. I'm chopping down that pile. And I'm going to line both side panels of the front of my coat at the same time. And most of the time you should be way over on the side of fabric, but I collect scraps because one day I'm going to make a boat cover. Do you know what's so funny? During the pandemic, I knew that I knew I needed to leave the house. I had a streak going where I really did not leave the house. I love movies in general. All kinds of movies, from black and whites, old schools, everything. I watched Forget Paris with Billy Crystal. If you do not know that movie, at the end of the movie, I was like crying, and more than just like, oh, this movie is so sad. I was like, man, I need to get out of the house. I cried at Finding Nemo. Movies and TVs get me. Some real life stuff. Occasionally news stories get me. Heartwarming stuff like kids seeing parents home from deployment. I can't watch that. That'll get me. Hell, I teared up watching Mrs. Doubtfire last night. Where is my compass? You know what? I'm trying to think. No, I didn't cry when the Dodgers won. I felt like there was something wrong with me. Everybody was in tears. But also in 1988, I wasn't as old as everybody else was in the room. So they remember. I was there, but I was dressed like Chucky and Osh Gosh Bagosh. I still can't say that. ESPN used to run a Wish segment on Sports Center. That got me every time. I couldn't do that. Do you know what's really funny? Everybody gets on this guy for this. And I'm not even a big fan of this guy. But when Kevin Durant gave his mom's speech, you know what I'm talking about. There's a basketball player named Kevin Durant. When he thanked his mom, that made me cry. That I want to timeout yellow for careless whisper, but it wasn't his fault. I cried when Kofi Kingston won the world title. Somewhere I'm looking up like you guys can see it. In this room, I have the original 3 years of SmackDown on VHS and Raw, but I taped SmackDown more because I wasn't home. And I have a bunch of old school WWF stuff. I mean, I have a VHS of when Bob Backlund won the WWF championship, and he won for one. I think it was for one day. I can't remember, but I have the VHS where he won, and people were like, oh, they were shocked. Hey, Skits, how's it going? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you, Skits. Rah, rah, right back at you. I still listen to that song. I still rah, rah, Rasputin that song. Skits, what makes you cry? Skits, Skits is in touch with his emotions. Is there a movie that makes you cry? I cried when Carrie Whisper got voted out. Do you know what's so sad? I love that song. I know. Time me out of my own stream. The second you said Careless Whisper, the song was in my head. Bieber held it for a week or so, lost it to Diesel. Oh, at MSG House, how Diesel held it for a year. Diesel's title reign made me cry. I have when Bob Backlund beat Bret Hart. If that's who he beat, the look on the crowd, the look on people's faces, they were like, "You're letting him walk away with that belt." Oh, good times. Heck yeah, good to see everybody. And now I just have Kayla's Whisper in my head. Is that the song? Now I have to look that up. There was somebody who walked into my local mall. That is, there is somebody who walked in my local mall and played that. And then, and this was years ago. This was years ago, back when like malls were still semi-functional. And he walks in, he starts playing it, and even the security guard is jamming, and you can hear he gets a call on his radio, and he's like, "All right, you gotta go," because someone probably told him like, "Hey, man, this is looking real bad that you're rocking out to this song." Oh, good times. I just watched a YouTube video about good sportsmanship in a little league game. Made me teary-eyed. Oh man, do you know what's so funny? I played little league. Um, we were evil to each other. We said awful things. I'm glad that they had sportsmanship. Little league readied me for life. Little league was like warrior school for 6 and 7-year-olds. It was so competitive when I was a kid. I played baseball all the way up to high school. It's so funny that junior baseball was more competitive than high school baseball, and they actually had stakes, you know. There was something at stake. Oh, and his brother had their mom throw in the towel, and Brett locked in the chicken wing. Wrestling nerd brain. Brett didn't tap. Man, that hoodie I made, the pink and black one, that thing screamed Art Foundation. I think it's because it was that electric 1980s pink. So earlier I was talking about how I got locked out of my blooper channel, and I'm not over it. But I created a new channel. So the artist formerly known as Godless Sewing actually has content now. And like I said earlier, I'm gonna put a warning on it for people who know me on here. I don't curse. I keep it real, Mr. Rogers. When I make mistakes when I'm filming, I say awful things. And it's funny because it's more of a knee-jerk reaction. It's not anything meant for malice for anyone. But I have a blooper video up on my channel now. The pitcher accidentally beamed the kid in the head. The kid was down for a while, but eventually recovered and went to first. The pitcher kid was so shaken up and in tears that he couldn't pitch. The batter left first base and went to the pitcher's. Aw, the pitcher mounted and hugged him. That is sportsmanship. That is. I think it's crazy when they're trying to fight each other in baseball nowadays. We definitely need to teach more sportsmanship to kids. But let's be real, like they were showboaty in my era. Because I love it when people say these really ageist arguments of like kids nowadays, and they forget that we were not exactly the same, but we were just as all over the place. Yeah, I saw that. It was at the Little League World Series. The parents are worse than the kids. Taken from a former Little League coach. Yep, that's the one. Do you know what my new pet peeve is? And I'm not even over it yet, I guess, because I'm still talking about it. My son's been homeschooled for a very long time. We are hermit crabs, real life hermit crabs. He's just now getting back into the high school experience. I have to leave my house a half an hour till 4. The kid is only gone for a certain amount of time, and on certain days they have half days. The parking lot wars are real, and I forgot about that because in elementary school it's more passive aggressive. Because you're mad dogging somebody, but you're picking up your 6-year-old kid. It's way more passive aggressive. But I forgot how hardcore. So I'm over it. I'm over it already. And then people want to fight and honk and cut in front of people. Like, my new pet peeve is people who act like they don't see each other. I saw that today where someone pulled in front of each other, and I'm like, I know you see them. And I'm so loud. I know they hear me. Because I'm talking with my window rolled down. Because I know they were hearing me. Oh, we talk big trash. We were good and could back it up. That is true. That is true. That was like a life lesson. Like, don't say anything that you can't back up. I say that about patch placement because people ask me all the time, like, can I wear this patch or that patch? Or like, what are they, whatever they're into? And I always say, don't wear anything that you're not willing to defend. And I'm not even saying physically, because someone's gonna ask you, like, oh, what's your favorite song? Or are you from there? You know what? First few times I saw the one disabled kid score a touchdown and the boys would, oh, that got me too. Yes, Rashawn, that one destroy. I grew up in a world around special needs people. I still work with special needs adults in general. Any of those videos with special needs kids, man, they get me. And I'm, yeah, those do. See, men cry over important things like YouTube videos. Videos like that. Some restore my faith in the future. You know what? This talk lately, I constantly talk about how I do not watch the news. I've been just utterly and completely ignoring the news. But I'm still subscribed to this one news station in Alabama. So every once in a while, I'll click on a story. All these news stories have been popping up, and it makes me want to hide in my house again. So I need more videos like that to restore my faith in humanity. Do you know where I live? And I'm not even saying this to be political. When you go to Walmart, almost everything, the food is not behind glass, but almost everything is behind glass. And you, I had to ask for help for eye drops. So I need videos to restore my faith in humanity. That's why I come out here and sew and talk about my crazy adventures during the day. So I have a question. Do you have any hobbies? Like, sewing is something I love to do. It's my hobby. But like I said, every 6 months I pull out my keyboard and try to revise my synth pop career. And let me tell you, it hasn't my inner Roger Troutman is not being channeled. Welcome to my so-called life. Oh, come on. I'm holding the mic stand with my other hand. But my whole point is, do you have any other hobbies besides what you do normally? And I'm talking about, like, do you have a second or third hobby? I like watching odd sports. I like watching Australian rules football. I'm not kidding you. I've been watching Australian rugby and Australian rules football since I was a child. I do not know the rules. Because of ESPN and ABC, they have been showing Australian rules football in America as long as I can remember. Still to this day, I do not. It's kind of like American football. They keep scoring, people clap, and they're kicking the ball. You know what? Videos like Alibaba guitar. I need to get back into playing the guitar. I have a guitar, 2 banjos, and all kinds of instruments in here. Maybe I have too many hobbies. But then I was just watching a YouTube video on how hobbies will say, this guy was basically saying like how hobbies will save your life. But I think he was coming from the perspective of like, I could have been doing all these horrible things. If I wasn't doing this, I would be like make I don't know. I don't know. My whole point is I wouldn't be doing horrible things. Actually, I do horrible things with rotary blades. I still don't know why I destroy so many blades. I think I'm pushing too hard. Oh, beautiful. You have a nice acoustic. Thank you. I have I have all kinds of stuff that I need to get back into. Every 6 months, I guilt myself into like, hey, you have all this stuff that you don't use. I have my banjo, but the one I inherited is fancy. It's the kind of banjo that people save money for. And I just kind of, it's kind of a wall hanger in my house. I almost thought about taking piano lessons, but then I was like, you know what? I can do that online. But I'm gonna start taking piano lessons too. Not like anything classical or anything crazy. You know, I want to play the Beverly Hills Cop. Dun, 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 dun. Perfect. It's me. I'm pushing way too hard on the rotary blade. Perfect. Perfect. All right. All right, let me sit down for a minute. I'm going to take a break. I didn't even think I'd make it this far. Oh, let's enjoy the stream for a minute since everyone's here. Perfect. I like to write occasionally. My channel is a hobby outlet. Absolutely. I was thinking about that today when I started the other channel. There's all these things that I want to put on it, and I got all enthusiastic, and it reminded me of how much I love streaming. And I never thought I would say that out loud. I can't believe I just said that out loud. But I do. For me, self-taught was slow, but I learned stuff that could never be taught. Absolutely. You know, that's how I learned masonry. That's how I learned all kinds of things. I learned watching people who knew what they were doing, and it wasn't in school. I went to trade school, and they don't teach you that stuff. But I learned from, the old tobacco chewing professional type. You know what? While I'm sitting here, I'm going to... Oh, should I do it? I guess I'll move my serger around. I'm still kind of apprehensive about my serger because it was one of those things that worked every day, and then it just kind of decided to go on strike. I'm definitely self-taught when it comes to a lot of things. Sewing is one of those things I've actually taken more than one class about sewing, but most of what I do is self-taught, and a lot of it is cutting corners. For anyone who watches me, I'm like interfacing. Just line everything and sew it together. But it all depends on what you're doing and what you're into. So my local 99-cent store finally went under, and I don't know. That's actually a really bad sign of the time. That's like a bad sign of the economy if stores in your neighborhood are going under. But more than anything else, it was just kind of sad to see. When I remember Gosh, I don't want to say how long ago, but when I was in junior high, they put that place in, and I went crazy. Everything was $1 for anyone of a certain age. I used to buy Sun-In and put it in my hair, and that's what led me to dye my hair Sinbad red. And all of that stuff came from the 99-cent store. I bought this really cheap red, all of this just cheap stuff from the from the 99-cent store. And my son wanted Subway after school, so I took him to Subway, and we drove past the 99-cent store, and it was crazy to see it completely empty. It kind of made me, it didn't choke me up, but I was like, man, that's a weird end to an era. And it's not a good sign of the economy when stores are closing in your neighborhood. And I live on the nice side of town. And also, it's exposing me of how much I'm addicted to candy, because I could go to the 99 and completely hide my habit, because I would go there, peruse all the store, buy a bunch of plastic tubs I didn't need, and go home. Now, when I go to the store, the checker, when they're checking out my stuff, when all the candy and stuff and all the junk food starts going, they literally look at you like beep, beep, as they're looking at it. At least that's how I feel. All right, so this is the surger of contention. It's a bad sign of excessive inflation. Death of the 99-cent store. Thank you. It's kind of making me scared. Like, it's just not a good sign for the economy when the stores guy. It's bad out here. And that's another reason why I kind of have to watch the news sometimes, because I was telling people, like, yeah, like, what about our local mall? And they were like, bro, like, most of the mall's abandoned. I haven't been there in a long time. The last time I was at the mall, I got a pretzel and I went upstairs, and I was walking, and they had a Big Lebowski store. And I didn't know how to feel about it. Growing up, I was obsessed with the movie The Big Lebowski. People have literally created a religion around The Big Lebowski. And I thought it was weird, because the real Big Lebowski was anti-capitalism. But they sold this sweater. They had everything at the Lebowski store. It was the strangest. Anything that was worn in the movie that, became iconic, all of a sudden they were showing on in this store. It was crazy to me. It was crazy. They had a Big Lebowski store, which is gone. I'm gonna have to watch that movie tonight. But it just makes me scared for the economy. And like I said, I live on the good side of town, so we're always the last to know, because that's just the way the economy goes. A long time ago, when I remember moving to Oregon, and when I remember pulling up, and when you go into the state, there was this giant billboard that said, "Thank you, whoever was president at the time." I don't want to say, because it was a long time ago, but they were like, "Thank you for bankrupting the state of Oregon. We are the 48th poorest state in the union," or something crazy. But where I lived in California, the recession hadn't hit yet. I think it was George Bush. I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember who the president was. I can tell by the housing prices in Central Ohio. They are charging $1,500 for places that were $750 pre-pandemic. Prices surged. That's insane. That's just insane to me. People are paying $4,000 to $5,000 a month to rent anything that resembles what I live in. And because I said a way cheaper price, and somebody was like, "What planet are you from?" It's sad. And and those are the torn down places. Do you know what's really sad to me? Oh man, Full disclaimer, I'm about to go full Wonder Years and start talking about Winnie Cooper and Harper's Woods. When I was a kid, there was a $1.50 movie theater. It was called the Plaza. That place stood forever. It stood forever. Every crummy movie I could possibly think of, I saw there. And it was that kind of movie theater where if a movie was popular, if you waited 4 months, it would be at the $1.50 theater, you know. It stood forever. It got turned into a club. I actually worked there when it got turned into a club. And eventually it just kind of got forgotten by time. Recently, because the grocery store I go to is right very near it, I drove by and they tore it down. It was extremely sad to me to see something that was a symbol of my town be torn down. But nobody really could afford to own the movie theater, and nobody really goes to the theater like that. And that movie house was always a discount movie house from the jump, so it didn't matter anyways. It was just sad. It was just sad to see. It's a sad side of the economy. And you know what's funny? The 99-cent store is closing, and do you know what they're replacing the movie theater with? A Dollar Tree. Doesn't have to make sense. It does not. I guess it doesn't have to make sense. You know what? I think it's time to move the Surger, to pay it. This thing had its own station. I liked standing up with it, but I think it's gonna be better used over here. So let me get a test strip and see how this thing goes. Mona likes ice. Hello, hello. How are you doing, Mona? How are you? Great to meet you. Great to meet you. Hello, hello. This I need a test piece. Do you know what's so funny? I thought I was over it. I thought that I'd finally cured my utter and complete hatred for Surgers, and then this thing bonked on me, and it brought it all back. That's why I got so creative with my sewing machine, because I had to work around securing all edges on everything that I was sewing. It's just weird to me this thing decided to stop working. I still don't know what I've done, but it's only sewing on 3 threads. And no matter how many times I rethread it, it throws the thread. But it's clean. It's clean looking. Oh, I was making sure. I was just making sure. Hi, Mona. Great to see you. Great to see you, Mona. I was just making sure. You never know on YouTube. You never know. I've made so many mistakes on YouTube. Like, I should write a book. Great to see you. Great to see you. Yay. That's like my backup channel that I just started. Well, I didn't just start that. I am using as my blooper. I had to it makes me laugh when the name pops up and people are like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." I've made so many mistakes. I have offended so many people that sometimes and it's so funny. You could say the most inoffensive thing on earth, and someone's like, you said the most hurtful thing ever. So I've learned. I guess I'm gonna continue working on this surgery. It still works. That's why I put it over here, because it still works. It's still something that I'm gonna use. It's just not cooperating like it used to. And I've learned everything that you need to know about the Singer Heavy Duty. Can we just have a talk real quick? I know that this is one of the most hated sewing machines on earth. More than the touch and sew. And I'm sitting in a room of Singer touch and sews. And I have to say, sometimes we get personally invested in what we do. And a lot of emotions get invoked out of things. I have to say, this is actually nothing like what I thought it was going to be. This is a fully functioning sewing machine. And hey, it's not heavy duty, it's over ambitious, it's plastic pretending to be metal, but it still works. This is almost identical to my Husqvarna Viking. This machine is almost identical as far as working, as far as dependability, and it just makes me laugh. I think it's because they're not as advertised, because I know what I'm getting myself into. This makes me laugh. And the funny thing is, I only wanted this just because it's infamous. And now it's the premier machine right now. Until, I use it until it bonks out. I'm still this close on sending my Husqvarna Viking away because I want that machine to be back, to be working again, because it was the most glorious sewing machine I ever had. And now that I have a better idea of how to take care of it, I had a Husqvarna Viking. It was a 2018 or 19 Emerald Husqvarna Viking. It was the first time that I actually went to the retailer and purchased the sewing machine. I was dancing in the parking lot because usually I go to Walmart or I go to Target and I would buy a sewing machine. But this was the first time that I actually went to the Husqvarna store, which is no longer open. We had a Husqvarna outlet in my town and it's closed. It's an okay machine. You know what? It's just, I think what happens is that we have expectations of things and we expect them to do things, and it's a sewing machine. And I'm one of those people. I'm guilty of that more than probably most people. I expect things just like my serger. I'm mad at my serger for not being an industrial machine. I bought this at Walmart. Of course, it's not an industrial machine. And every time I see this in someone's house and they're like, oh, look how successful my project was, I was like, okay, I know it's me. I know I threaded the thing wrong. You need one. You need one of the old Vikings. They're nice. I have a couple old Vikings. I was thinking about completely rearranging this room and setting up a few tables, but the problem is there's like 25 sewing machines. I want I want my 301A to work. I have two 1970s Husqvarna Vikings that are now working because I finally have the cord. I own over 20 1950 black Singers with them. Well, some have the motors and some don't. But though my whole point is I want to get those going, you know. So I'm going to have to move into a warehouse like Fred Sanford. All right. I think I'll take a break for about 5 more minutes. This was a productive break because I'm not as scared of my serger as I was. The problem is when something becomes unreliable, at least with me, I stop using it because I need something where I don't have to think about it, where I could just use it and move on, use it and move on, as far as sewing equipment. And when I have to constantly think about every stitch, it becomes a problem. Oh man. Let me check my notes. Today was definitely one of those crazy days. So what should I make, tweed shorts or tweed pants? And one of the reasons I'm so reluctant on making tweed pants is because they do not sound comfortable. I'm a t-shirt and jeans kind of guy, you know? So tweed pants just sound like itchy. Of course, well, I could line them. Once you get a 1691 going, direct motor, you should be all right for straight stitching for a decade. And that's part of the problem is I can't sit here and complain about industrial machines when I have their predecessors literally sitting behind me. Literally sitting behind me. Tweed pants lined in shorts. Okay, so I should line them. When I was a kid, my parents let me wear whatever I want. My mom did dress me like I was Polly from The Sopranos until I was like in the 5th grade. But for some reason, when I was a kid, church clothes were required to be itchy. So as an adult, I refuse. Man, if I have a tag that's annoying, I will take my shirt off and cut the tag because I'm not here for people to see my labels anyways. So I'm anti-itchy clothes. And I'm already kind of a scratcher to begin with. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I forgot this. So when my son was at his MMA class today, I went and got my car washed. And when I say I went and got my car washed, I went to the local 7-Eleven and I got a $11 car wash where you go through the machine. I actually like going through the machine. So I went through the car wash machine. I come back to my son's MMA class. This whole process was less than 20 minutes. I pull up in the parking lot. I'm leaving to go to Jack in the Box. I look. Someone keyed my car. Someone keyed my car. And I don't know if it was recent, if it was a while ago, because it was embedded in there. But somebody did a complete swirl down the driver's side. And because my car is black on black, I didn't notice. My son's grown. Like, he would not have done this. When he was younger, I totally would have blamed my son and moved on with my life. But because my car is so jet black, um, I didn't notice. And plus, let's be real, I'm one of those people, I wash my car to keep up with appearances. And so it had recently rained. My car was gross, but because the weather's better, it's all, I'm showing off for the neighbors. Someone keyed my car. Yes. I looked and I was like, and I'm one of those people. If I didn't see the person do it, I don't somebody keyed my car and you could tell they walked. You can tell because it's from the driver's side all the way. And they did it with something extremely sharp because it's embedded in the metal. I'm gonna go look to see what I can do. I'm probably gonna look up a YouTube video because it's no secret. I'm the son of an engineer. I am sitting in a room of all kinds of putties and all kinds of things that I don't even know what they do. Weird polymers, weird things with instructions that if you mix this and this, it'll fix your car. So I probably have what I need to fix it, but it was so somebody keyed my car. And it's full swirls. It is full swirls all the way from the driver's side handle all the way down to the tail light. And I'm laughing because again, I didn't see who did it. It could have happened 6 months ago. I'm constantly driving. I'm driving all around LA. It is no secret that if you say something crazy to someone, you come back to your car, you're lucky if they don't smash your windows or something, So I often consider myself extremely fortunate. I really do. I really do. But it kind of made me jump. I was like, man, I must have really ticked somebody off enough for them to key my car. So that was a bad discovery. That was but again, I have a Ford Flex and it's jet black. It is literally black on black. And so it's not one of those things that I noted. I really didn't notice it. And I don't know. It's awful. But I will, that's something I can actually fix. So I'm not gonna dwell on. Oh. You know what's really funny? After making my tweed hat, I feel like I need to make another one. I feel like my giant tweed hat was kind of successful. And now that I know that tweed is going to stand up more, I'm going to go for the more smaller pork pie look. Tweed is actually inspired. It is so sad that tweed has completely changed my sewing style. It's actually funny that every time I meet a new material, I'm like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. And I'm not kidding you. Oh, excuse me. I have absolutely fallen in love with these two vendors at the San Fernando Valley Swap Meet. And if you're watching, I speak Spanish. They were talking in Spanish and they were like, does he like Lycra? He looks like he likes Lycra. And I love you for saying that I look like I like Lycra. But long story short, they're the ones who have introduced me to this tweed, all these different materials, and I'm gonna start working with Lycra. But I gotta like do some sit-ups. I think the tweed might be a nice change for you. I really like the tweed, and I'm gonna start making more clothes, because I fall in love with ideas, I fall in love with things, and I start making them over and over. Hence the 90s hood. I think you just like experimentation. I do. I'm constantly trying to find things that are outside my box. That's why you'll hear me mention like, oh, in Egypt they did this and this. Is because I'm constantly looking. I know more right now about Northern Africa than my own country. But it's because I'm constantly like researching things. And I'm subscribed to this channel. It's called Channels, but it's African news. So I'm all over the place. I am definitely all over the place. The drapes let me know you're a wild bear. I am literally, you know what? I'm that skit on the Dave Chappelle show where Dave Chappelle met Wayne Brady, where everybody had this impression of Wayne Brady, and he was like, get in the car. That's me. When you meet me in real life, you're like, man, that sewing guy, he's a real guy. Did you look up that shirt to see what tribal shirt it is? The blue one? No, I haven't yet. I have not. In Alibaba, you bring up a really good point. I think it's because of the way I look. I really tick off a lot of people when I wear certain prints. And I'm not, and that's why that's one of the reasons I give a disclaimer. That's one of the reasons I come out here and I tell people I'm just here to sew. I got hate mail from when I used, and I didn't know it was a Southeast Asian deity. It's a giant elephant. It was an elephant. And people were sending me all this hate mail and all of these things, not knowing that it was a woven curtain. It was no, I'm sorry, it was a shower curtain. So if you want to get mad at me for being disrespectful, I repurposed a shower curtain. But it's amazing the hate mail I get from people. But I really need to look that up so I know who to respond to. It's like a uniform, that shirt, if I'm right. I told you, it really tripped me out when I walked up to this one vendor and he had all this African stuff. And I was like, where'd you get all of this? Oh, you think I'm playing, Rashawn? People come at me crazy. And again, I'm not here to offend anybody. I just live my life in peace. And so if it's shiny and I can put it together in my sewing machine, I'm going to sew it. Just like that bubble hoodie thing I made. Do you know, I laughed so hard because it was made of drapes. That was real drapes that it was made out of. I laughed after all the work. I washed it 3 or 4 times. I put that thing on. I was skating in the gym and I was like, is someone smoking? I haven't smoked a cigarette in wow, a very long time, like 9 or 10 years, 8 or 9 or something crazy. And I'm like, it smells like cigarettes. I made a shirt out of drapes and it still smells like cigarettes, and I washed it 4 or 5 times. It made me laugh so hard, man. Those drapes probably came from a casino. It probably came from somewhere, but it made me laugh because I'm big on washing your stuff because I buy a lot of stuff from thrift stores. I buy a lot of stuff from flea markets, from literally the ground. Literally at the swap meet when I bought that giant thing of tweed, it was with a bunch of rugs, and because it was thick, the guy probably thought it was a rug, but it was a literal factory roll of tweed, you know. But I washed it because it was you don't know where it's coming from. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but scabies and fleas are real. I'm not trying to be gross, I'm not trying to be inflammatory, but you need to wash stuff if you get it from a strange place because you just need to. The more you know. That is my PSA of the evening. That's Macklemore doesn't put that in the song, but you need to wash everything after you have the $20 in your pocket. Oh, it's so sad. I still like that song. I still do. All right, I'm gonna finish tracing this. Oh, I can't. You know what's so funny? It's because of these glasses. I'm fronting for YouTube. I just want to be cool. I just want to wear my glasses, but these are so dark I can't see through them. So I'm just clicking on buttons randomly. There we go. Perfect. Oh, now I have that song stuck in my head. All right. I'm going to rename that pattern Old Faithful. Oh, I forgot that thing is still on. You can imagine how much my neighbors love me. And you know what? I have new neighbors too. I really want to know what they think of me after they've probably been here like a month or two now. I'm curious. But they're extremely quiet and they don't fight like my old neighbors, so I like them already. Perfect. All right. I'm kind of doing the fast forward version just so I can get this done a little bit faster. But I have new neighbors and I am extremely curious to know what they think of me. Have a great night. Have a great night, Rashawn. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much. I'll be around on Friday. This is the same keyboard they used in Strange Brew to get the hockey players to fight. The program sounds are unique to that synth. Do you know what's funny, Ollie Papa? I love that movie. Do you know how disappointed I was when I found out that Canadians don't call each other hoser? I wanted to cry when I found out they don't when all Canadians don't call hey hoser. Stop being a hoser. I love that movie. Strange Brew. Such with Rick Moranis, and I can't remember who the other person was. That is such a good movie. When I was younger, They would always have the weirdest movies on television. They would constantly show Brewster's Millions with Richard Pryor. That's one of the reasons I'm obsessed with that movie, because it was always on TV. But Strange Brew was another one of those movies that was always on television. Always. Oh, and Dave Thomas. How can I forget Dave Thomas? Such a good movie. I've asked almost I asked Alibaba. I think almost every Canadian I've ever come across, I'm like, how come you guys don't call each other hosers? But again, that's just a stereotype that I got from a movie. Oh man. This coat is actually gonna be perfect when I'm done with it. I really like the fact that I decided to oh, make this coat. I'm gonna start taking more time with my projects, because what happens is I rush myself on stream, and then I end up cutting every corner you could possibly think of. Ian Thomas is his brother. I met him once before SCTV days. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. When I was really little, he had a hit in Canada, Painted Ladies, like in 1974 or 75. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm trying to think if I've known like people in the movie industry, but it's more extremely obscure people, like extremely obscure. Besides being shushed by Lenny Kravitz, I'm trying to think, and I don't know Lenny. He just shushed me. I'm trying to think. And because of where I live, I know a lot of really obscure retired sports. Excuse me, a lot of retired sports stars. A lot. All right. Hold on, let me check something really quickly. Okay, perfect. Perfect. You know, I had no idea that the getting a dog manicured was gonna be such a who know. You know, these live streams are so funny. I never know which direction they're gonna go. Oh, that cut is way off. That's okay. Oh, this is gonna be funny on the serger. I haven't decided where to place my serger yet. Because Serger Station is completely gone. But it's a whole new era here in the House of Sewing, because my sewing is changing in a lot of ways, and I needed to get out of that corner anyways. You know, I've been going for like an hour and a half. I'm not going to finish this tonight, but I'm going to go for a little bit longer, but I'm going to end this live stream because I've been doing these mega long live streams and I'm burnt out. I am burnt out. And when I'm not streaming, it gives me the ability to finish these projects a lot faster, you know. But I do love coming out here and doing these streams. So I'm still going to come out and do the streams Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I'm just not going to go as long as I used to. And plus it's summer, and pretty soon I'm planning a Vegas trip right now. I'm not going to go. I no longer imbibe on alcohol, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm not necessarily going there to gamble. I want to hit all of the antique shops, all the thrift stores out in the middle of the desert. When you drive from LA to Las Vegas, it's actually an experience, because there's all kinds of crazy things out in the desert. And you're like, how did this diner get here? There is a diner. I cannot remember the name of it. It's a 1950s diner. Almost every time I drive to Las Vegas, I go there. And they warn you like 20 miles to the diner, 34, they warn you. It's the best food. And you are literally out in the middle of the desert. I've heard they have good antique stores in Vegas, but I bet expensive now. That's one thing I'm kind of worried about. But I'm an outskirts kind of guy. I'm a Badlands outskirts kind of guy, and we live in the era of Google. Do you know it is so funny? I constantly talk about how I live in LA County. And one day driving to downtown, I was like, I bet I drove past like 100 Goodwills. No, I drove past like 300 Goodwills. So I've literally been mapping them out. And Salvation Armies, it's so weird. I literally have a thrift store map that I've been working at, and I've been like slowly charting Los Angeles. And it's funny because with our freeway system, you can get somewhere relatively fast and you don't realize the distance that you've gone or all the things that you've passed because you were just driving on the freeway past everything. So I've been mapping out all these thrift stores and I've only scratched the surface. I've barely scratched the surface. But I want to do that in Vegas as well. And as far as LA County, I even want to thrift in Ventura County. Wow, let's be real. This entire back row came from Ventura, California. Almost every black Singer sewing machine I have here, except for one or two, actually two, came from Rooster's Relics. Every single one of those came from Ventura County. So I think I'm definitely going to be heading east within the next. I was thinking about doing it in the next couple of weeks, but I want to plan it out more. And I'm probably going to do a live stream from out in the middle of nowhere. Who knows? Who knows? But one of the things I love about thrifting, it's weird because it's in my nature, but it's the adventure. It's the drive. It's the experience, For as much as I'm resentful as getting pulled over in Ventura and getting my car towed that one time, I went to Ventura every weekend for, I don't know, almost a year. I would go to the beach every Saturday. And after I got all my sewing machines, I would go and get my lunch and just sit on the beach and enjoy myself. I will never lose that experience. I will have that experience for the rest of my life. And that's more important to me than even the action that I'm doing is enjoying myself while I'm doing it. So as you can tell, I am itching for an adventure, and I'm gonna head east. And I've been mapping it out, and there's all kinds of thrift stores, antique shops, just out in the middle of nowhere. And I think a lot of it too is I'm an ex-adventurer. I'm a real life traveler. And I think because I'm a homebody now, I miss the adventure. I miss going out. I miss that. So I definitely hear the call of the wild. I'm definitely going to be going back out and enjoying myself. Oh. And after that speech, I'll be back at it on Wednesday. I appreciate everybody who has been here in my live stream. I had a great time. I had an absolute great time. Ever since 1996, I've slowed down on travels. Do you know, it was the pandemic for me. The pandemic destroyed me. And I'm not even talking about financially. I sat at home for 2 or 3 years. And I didn't realize how much I traveled until I couldn't. And because of my own physical requirements, like I've been scared to go places, but it's been 4 years, it has legitimately been 4 years. So it's time for my so-called life adventure again. I think it's just I'm craving that Euro. I think it's in Baker, out in the middle of nowhere. There's a Euro place and it's so good. It's worth it. It's worth driving 3 hours just for that Euro. But when you drive that 3 hours, you're basically in Vegas. All right. Well, I'll be back at it on Wednesday. I want to thank everybody who was here for this live stream. I want to thank Rashawn, Alibaba, Mona likes ice cream. I love ice cream. Yella Skits. I want to thank everybody who was here this evening. You guys are absolutely amazing. I'll be back at it on Wednesday with more harrowing tales of being a real life soccer dad and sewing and trying not to judge people crying over their dog. I was folded in half backwards in pain ever since. Makes travels tough. I totally understand. I totally understand. I'm like, I am itching. I'm itching to go out. And I kind of feel like I don't feel like this is my only opportunity. But the older I get, I feel less and less you know, I just need to go out. It's been 4 years since I've gone in that direction. I used to go there every single weekend. If I didn't go to the beach, I was going to Vegas or I was going on some crazy adventure. So it's definitely time to get out there. And could you imagine all the fabric stores that are waiting for me? All the sewing machines that are just sitting out in the middle of the desert waiting to be refurbished? I do. Mm. I love those videos where people go for walks and streams that help me out. I miss that. I really miss that. I think that's I think that's what bogs people down. Like I'm an everyday parent, and I'm not saying that to be insulting. I'm not saying that to lord myself over anyone. But I used to be somebody else. And so I hear the call. I'm driving my kid to school, and I see someone tool by a motorcycle, and I'm like, I used to be cool. So I'm itching for an adventure. So I'm definitely, but because I'm an adult, I'm gonna plan it out utterly and completely. I'm gonna show up with an itinerary. I'll be back at it on Wednesday. I appreciate everybody. I know I stream a lot. You guys have lives. I absolutely appreciate everybody. If you watch this in the restream, you're appreciated as well. I'll be back at it on Wednesday. And like I always say, reinforce your seams, be yourself. Oh, and trees too. Trees, thank you for showing up. I'm like running through my head. Anyone who showed up this evening. You guys are all appreciated. I'll be back at it rambling on Wednesday. And like I always say, reinforce your seams, be yourself, and I will definitely see you next time. Oh, I didn't it? I'll see you next time.